one, the only, 1L, Michelle Cummins, no G. It's time for the Cummins Real Estate Group show. How you doing, Michelle?
Doing fantastic, Curtis. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Here we are, another wonderful January morning.
It is January. It is the start of everything great. That's how I like to look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Let's go with the positivity here. I'm trying to, be more positive this year. I'm a pretty positive guy, but I'm trying to send out better vibes to the universe this year.
2021. Yes, 2021. Got to come up with. You know what I've decided? I've decided that because we all at Christmas time we're so excited for Christmas and gift giving, and it's so happy and joyful, and I decided I want to do, instead of just the 12 days of Christmas, I want to do the 12 months of Christmas leading up to Christmas. So I've decided I'm going to give a gift once a month on the 25th of every month, just out of the blue. And I'm going to wrap it in Christmas paper.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's going to make somebody's day.
I think it'll be fun.
I think that's a great idea. We should challenge people
once in a while.
Yeah, we should challenge people to get into that. Other people should follow suit.
That would be fun. I could start a trend.
What? You're a trendsetter, Michelle.
Sure, and not my clothes I wear, that's for sure. Still got to get my closet done. That's one of those goals I still have every month. It gets put onto the next month. I still have my clothes in my moving boxes from 3 years ago.
I was going to say, when we started this show, I seem to recall that was something that you had on your to-do list.
Yeah, it's still on my to-do list. My to-do list isn't any longer, but for some reason there's a couple things that keep on getting pushed.
Well, you do have a husband that's a musician. He's got to be at home a fair amount. Make him do it. Yes, I need to do that. That would be really fun stuff for him to do, I'm sure. Yeah, the honey-do list. I mean, my wife has no problem giving me a momentous, just a massive honey-do list, And the thing is, I can never achieve half of the stuff on there in any given go. So if I get two or three things checked off, that's a good day. Okay, what does your honey-do list look like? What kind of list is it? Is it on a blackboard, a whiteboard? Is it on paper, in your phone? It's usually a text message, but the thing is, it's often just adding to the list that's kind of just out there. Then I have to go back and look at previous text messages and go, wait a minute, I had other things I had to do too. And then I just kind of started to put it in my head, and that's where I go sideways. I think what you need, what my dad gave years and years and years ago, he gave a gift. I think it was in the first year Richard and I were married, but it's this wood cut out. It's like a hammer cut out of wood, and then there's a little clip on it, and it says on the hammer, honey-do list. And that's where it's still today, 25 years later, or however long we've been married, that I still have his to-do list on that clipboard. Yeah, because he hasn't done it yet. Exactly. I'm the same way. Me and Richard have that in common. Oh, well, the hammer comes in good use. Exactly. So I guess last week assessments came out, so I'm going to assume that that's what we're talking about this week. All segment long, all week long. This is all about the BC assessment. How fun is that? Well, it's something every property owner gets, and they kind of wait with anticipation because it's kind of it's almost like Christmas, right? Oh, how much is my house worth this year? That is true. We all anticipate it, and we're excited to see it. And when you told me last week you had yours, I'm like, wait a second, I don't have mine yet. So I had to quickly look on the website to have a look at it. And it is. You kind of keep an eye on that. It's fun. They are in now. Yeah, and it is interesting to look because you can look at, any property. You can look at your childhood home. You can look at, there's a lot of stuff you can do in there, and you can really get lost on the assessment site. Yes, bcassessment.ca. Punch in an address, any address, condo or detached, doesn't matter. Punch it in, and and they also have sold. So recent solds that get uploaded, they actually put them on there too, so you can kind of have an idea of what the neighborhood's selling for and all that good stuff. So it's very interesting. Not kind of, very. It is. It is kind of. I got lost on there a little bit when I went on it for the first time anyway, because it was like, oh, I wonder how much my dad's property's worth today. Oh, I wonder how much my brother's is, or I wonder what the assessment came to my in-laws' place. Next thing you're like, oh, I just lost an hour of my day. And I'm going to send you something. So because actually Richmond went up, down. Sorry, from 2019 to 20.
It went down 17%. It was one of the lowest ones that went down that low. So typically they've gone down, in the Fraser Valley actually from 1 to 7% or so. So we'll talk about that a little later. But you wonder, you get your BC assessment and you go, what does it mean? Where have they gone and what do they mean? So last e-newsletter I had, so on Saturdays my e-newsletter go out, and last Saturday I had that fun quick video clip about what BC assessments, what they are. It was just a quick 3 points on it. So if you had a look at that, but what it doesn't mean, and a lot of people think it means, and a lot of people Google what my home is worth, and they think the BC assessment is today's market value, and they are almost never what the real market value is. So we're here to explain that. If you don't know what they are, it's a guideline for the government's taxing system. They need to establish a value on the land in order to tax it. It's not meant to be market value, and it's of July of the year prior. So it's 6 months old by the time you even get it in January. The BC assessment, the property taxes are good for distributing taxes evenly among the citizens of a given jurisdiction. So what tax on wealth versus a tax on income or a tax on consumption. So this is straight from the BC assessment website explaining it. It's also the property mill or tax rate should decrease with large increases in market values, as we have recently experienced, resulting in a moderate increase in the overall tax bill. But you don't have to have a heart attack or a massive heart attack even. Because when you see a 40% increase, it doesn't mean your taxes are going up by the same amount. So this is simply the tax man playing catch-up year over year. So if all the neighbors' values increases as well too, so not just yours, it's pretty much an overall thing. But typically your taxes will increase if, let's say, it goes up maybe 2 to 4%. So it's not the same as what it goes up percentage-wise. So we had BC Assessment Deputy Assessor Brian Smith in our studio on January 19th of 2019. We have a whole show that he explains everything. He's not here this show, but we're going to play some important clips that we have from that show. And you can find, that whole show by going on the country1071.com website. And right now we're going to play our first clip explaining how they come up with assessments. So here you go.
Yeah, it is a great question. So, real estate is based on location. So hearing that different properties in different locations changed in the different percentage increase, that makes sense. We look for properties that have sold that are similar to your property to give us an indication as to what your property would sell for. So we'd be looking for a property, for example, if you're a 2,500 square foot house on a 7,000 square foot lot and your house is 5 years old, we'd be looking within your kind of general market area to see as to what that type of property is selling for, and use that as an indication as to what your property would sell for as of July 1st. And I think that's key is that, we use a point in time. So each year we provide you with an annual appraised value as of July 1st, and everybody within the province is treated that way, regardless if you are a commercial property, a strata property, or an industrial property. What is your property going to sell for as of July 1st?
So, Michelle, I think the important thing to note here is that is the value of your home as of July 1st, the previous July 1st.
Yes, and as we're going to talk about in the second segment, the differences of what that's gone down, because in 2019 changed from 2020, and then now the market since July has gone crazy up again. So, for instance, when you're doing a market valuation, you look at the assessments, you look at the data, you want to make sure it's correct, and then you got to look at how much the market has changed from that July 1st date of the previous year. So check to see if there's been any renovations or additions, any equity added value that you've put into the home and property will make a difference as well. So one of my mission properties, actually personal properties I sold in November, it went for 17% higher than its assessed value. And my primary residence in Agassiz is worth 10% more than what it's assessed for. So you have to really look at all those differences from when they did the assessment and what actual true market value is.
Yeah, because I know that, a kind of a rule of thumb that I've been told, and I don't know how accurate it is that your property value is probably about $100,000 more than the assessed value.
Yes, percentage-wise, but, it can be. That's pretty average right now.
Yeah, because, for example, we just sold our house. We just got our assessment, and we sold the house for about $120,000 more than the assessment.
Exactly.
So it's not a precise measurement, but it's a rough estimate if you're wondering how much you can sell your house for, I guess.
Yes, and when we come back, you wonder why don't they just do assessments at the first of the year then? Why do they do it all the way in July when they know it's going to be different later on? So we'll play that clip when we come back.
Okay, because I'm sure the people will want to know all about that. Okay, people probably want to know more about you and what you do as a realtor, so where can they go for that?
Well, they can always go to michellecummins.ca.
All right, we're back with more right after this. Cummins Real Estate Group show with the one and only Michelle Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. Now, Michelle, we talked about it very briefly in the first segment, but a lot of people do have the question, why is the assessment from 6 months ago? Why isn't it current?
I think the best person to explain that would be Brian himself, the BC Assessment Board, who was on our show in July of 2019 or January of 2019. So maybe we can play that clip.
We can.
Yeah, it would be awesome if we could give you, a January 1st assessment notice based on what your property was worth as of January 1st. But we're responsible for over 2 million different properties that we have to provide an annual assessment for. So it does take us a little bit of time. So we look for, the properties that sold in around July 1st. We'll look for properties sold before July 1st and slightly after July 1st and get an indication of what those properties are worth. So when you are looking at your assessment notice today, it is going to be a couple of months old compared to the information that we were looking at to determine your assessment. We'll see that in rising markets where your assessment may not be too low compared to, where the market is currently today. And also it may be the same or it may be actually decreasing as to what your market value is as of today, but in relation to July 1st.
And how do you get updated information for people who renovate or add bathrooms and bedrooms and square footage and such?
With a variety of different sources. Building permits are the first source we look for. So if there's a new house under construction, they would have taken out a building permit with the local municipality. We would work with the municipality to get the building plans and the information about the new construction, and then we'd be adding that to our assessment system. We also look for other systems. We utilize sales that have occurred for renovated properties. We look at doing information returns. We actually send out letters to property owners saying, have you done any renovations to your property? And they provide us details back. We also utilize technology to reassess properties. So we use street front imagery. So we have a van that drives around and takes a street front photo of all the properties within a local area. And then it'd be very similar to Google Earth. And then we utilize satellite imagery and then something called oblique imagery, which gives you the ability to fly around a house and look at a house from 4 different angles. So that way we can see inside the backyard and see if there's been an addition or see if there's been some sort of renovation that we can't see from that street front imagery, collect that information and make adjustments where our inventory is not correct.
Brian is the man with all the information. Now, Michelle, how have assessments changed, year over year from when we talked to Brian in 2019?
So the difference between the assessments, they went down across the board due to the market correction that we had in 2018. So if you remember, they were really high from 2016 and 17, and then we had that market correction, which they didn't anticipate when they actually did the assessments that July before. And so they went down across the board throughout the Fraser Valley between 1% and 9%, but are now valued higher by the same degree, if not more in some cases, due to the rise in the market since we've had just in the June-July resurgence that we've had in prices. So I'll actually explain a little bit Surrey, municipality by municipality. So Surrey went down 3%. City of White Rock went down 9%. So this is 2019 to 2020. 14% is Richmond, so that went down the furthest. Then Delta went down 9%. The township of Langley went down 5%. The city of Langley went down 6%. Abbotsford and Chilliwack went down 4%. And Maple Ridge went down 6%. Pitt Meadows the same. Mission went down 7%. The District of Kent went down 7%. And District of Hope went down 1%. And Harrison Hot Springs went down 5%. So that's sort of kind of like our area and surrounding areas of the difference. But like I said, then all of a sudden, right when they did the assessments in July, that's when the market really rebounded and has gone crazy. So, of course, everyone's values for today are much higher than their assessed values that was taken July of last year.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so I wanted to play another clip because, people wonder there's a difference between, regular residential, it's kind of your basic residential property or your condo townhouse. But what about ALR properties, agricultural land reserves? So at farm status properties that aren't ALR, but they have farm status. So let's play that clip from Brian.
Brian, I was going to ask you, how does the assessment board, how do you come up with the assessed value for farm status properties?
So farm class is based on what properties are being used for. So if you're a farming property, or you're meeting the test of an agricultural use according to the farm regulations, so a bit legislation heavy, but if you meet the test for farm class, that means that if you're a property that is less than 2 acres, your farming income is more than $10,000. If you're a property between 2 and 10 acres, your farm income needs to be $2,500. And if you're greater than 10 acres, you need to be $2,500 and slightly above that. There's a bit of a formula associated with that. So we get information from the property owners or from the farmer, and they provide us with those incomes, and then we apply farm class to that property. Those farm class assessed values are legislated. So through an order in council with the BC government, they provide us direction on how much particular acreage should be assessed for based on the farming activity that is occurring, as well as the type of soil that it is. So there's 7 classes of soil, and they have 7 different assessed values.
Interesting. And how is it that you come about assessing ALR land? About the same way?
So an ALR land property follows the same as market evidence. So we look for what properties are selling for within the ALR that have the similar ALR restrictions. And based on those sale prices, we'll determine what your property should be assessed for if you don't have farm class. For example, you could have a property that, it may sell for $5 million and, has a very nice house, estate home on it that will be valued at, assessed value of $1.5 million on the improvement, but the land value may only be $10,000 or $20,000 to account for the fact that there is farming activity that is occurring on that property. And that could be anywhere from hay, blueberries, raspberries, cows, any type of qualifying agricultural use.
Is there a percentage of the property has to be used for that for it to be labeled a farm then, or?
It has to meet the income requirements, especially in your ALR. If you are in the ALR and you're using, 50% of the property and 50% of the property is not being used for farm class, the entire site will fall for that. If you're outside of the ALR, the rules do apply slightly differently.
So that's Brian explaining the ALR. Now, Michelle, what else do people need to know?
Well, that's a lot about the assessments and what they mean and where they've gone. But let's talk about how the difference of what you need to be prepared for if you want to sell. Because as a realtor, I'm all about trying to get the highest price possible. And I understand that a lot of people are confused and think that BC assessments are somehow related to market value. So when it comes to selling your home, we have to, get over the hurdles and of what the buyers may think. So if they're going, well, it's only assessed at this, right? Let's help them out a bit. So before you go to sell, if you can, and if you think about it the year prior, look at your assessment and see, do they have the amount of bedrooms correct? Do they have the amount of bathrooms correct? Is the square footage correct? Is what was an unfinished basement, let's say, is now finished? Is that correct? Is that addition that you added on there, and is that correct? Do they know about it? Typically, they will only know about upgrades if you've gone to and done the proper building permits. But even still, even if you've done the proper building permits, sometimes they don't get the information. So definitely have a look at all of that, and then put in for them to come out and reassess your property. They will actually come out within 48 hours, and they will have a look and they will reassess your property. So definitely do that if you think of it before you list, and you can, so that it can show at least on the website. If not, that's the most important, because that's where buyers and their realtors will look at what the assessed value is. So this is a stat, over 98% of property owners typically accept their property assessment without proceeding to a formal independent review of their assessment. So you can be that 2% who either you want to stay in the property, you're not planning on selling, but boy, is it really high. And if you could actually, if it's really high and it is affecting your taxes, is in the 2 to 4% or maybe more. So, definitely do that if you don't feel it's true, if it's market value. But in most cases today, it's all worth more anyway, so you can't really do that. But definitely if you're thinking of selling, try to get in there in time. So when it comes to property values in BC, I wanted to give a summary. 3 differences when it comes to value. There's the BC assessment, typically inaccurate, as I mentioned, for a variety of reasons, and good only for distributing the tax base. And so that's the assessed value. A lot of people in the beginning of the year, I get so many inquiries, me and all realtors around, I'm sure, I get so many inquiries with people going, hey, what's my assessed value? They think the assessed value is their market value when they look into it, or they've researched in Google and they're asking for a valuation when they really just want their BC assessment. So there is some confusion there. So remember, that's for tax basis only and not true market value, as we've talked about. And then your realtor, imperative when buying or selling real estate. We can provide you with a comparative market analysis in today's market. So that's so important. And then an appraiser. So a bank relies on an appraiser so that they can deliver an accurate valuation, true today, of the property with certain dates, which then the bank, the financial institutions will rely on, lawyers will rely on, government agencies. So that's called an appraisal. So there's an appraisal going backwards. There's the CMA, or a comparative market analysis of a realtor, and then there's the assessed value from BC assessment. So there's the explanation of it. And so you can look up, again, if people missed the first segment, you can look up your properties and anybody's properties assessment on bcassessment.ca. So have a look there. It's quite fun. And I wanted to mention the newest listing this week is this subdividable 3.5 acres I have in East Abbotsford, and it's for $3.5 million. It has, and it comes with the potential to subdivide into, and they've already really approved it. The applications have expired now. You just have to reapply, do the necessary steps, and you can have 3 beautiful view lots. And they're all around 11,000 or so square feet, but they are view lots of the North Mountains, of the river, of the valley. Gorgeous. And you can sell those, if you built on them each, from $1.5 to $2.3 million. Easy all day long. Just those 3 lots. And then you have off McKee Road, a completely different road, 12 townhouses can go there. So and you can sell those for around $750 to $780. So this is a really good site if you're looking for a subdividable property and you're looking to develop. And then I have this brand new condo for rent. I'm not a property manager. I do not rent properties, but I do have an amazing property manager in my group. His name is Dan Lang, and he's amazing. He's great. He's been doing it forever, but you never guessed the He looks young, but he's a really great guy. Very, very good to work with the tenants and work with you as the landlord. Easy guy to work with. So this new condo, anyways, it's in the gas town of the Fraser Valley. It has a brick-laid bay window in the living area and views of the mountain and downtown. I just love it. It's a one-bedroom plus den with an air conditioner, with a gas barbecue hookup. Not many condos have that. A gas stove, all brand new. You could be one of the first ones, or you could be if you call Dan Lane today or contact me and I can get you connected with him. It's got one of the largest decks, and you can walk across the way to the town hall for a bite to eat and a brew. I mean, it's great. It's $1,500 a month. You get 1 year free internet and 1 year free membership at the local gym. Move in tomorrow if you want to. It's ready to go. So the quote of the week here I have for you all is, "You are more powerful than you know and more loved than you can dream." I got that this morning from my Bible app, my daily reading, and it's pretty encouraging to know that as humans, I mean, we humans are what make everything real in our lives and in this world. We're responsible for every choice, every action, everything we do or do not do, and we take ourselves and each other for granted way too often. But if we remember that we are more powerful than we understand and more loved than we could dream of, we would share more of that truth with others and help each other.
Very cool. All right, if people want more information on what you do as a realtor and how you can help them, where do they got to go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And make sure you tune in again next week when once again we will talk about real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.